Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Living in the Limelight, an Anton Scholl and Friends podcast where we discuss music from the artist and fan perspective. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. All right, welcome to another episode of Living in the Limelight. I'm your host, Anton Scholl, and with me today, my very special guests, Rebecca and Rev from Baby and the Nobodies. How are you guys?
Hey,
Good. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Good. It's good to meet you guys. Thank you for joining in. I've been listening to some of your stuff, and I will say that I am a fan of music that is not electronically produced and kind of oversampled type of a thing. So when I did hear your music, it's kind of the same thing that I like to do. The music I put out now is guitar-oriented music. And I love the, just guitar, bass, drums, vocals, and just do it. I love that. So I'd like to talk to you guys about where you're from. And I know you have new music coming out. It actually just hit, so I think it is out.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So let's talk about the band first, because I'm obviously intrigued by the name. So let's talk about you, the band, and how you got the name.
Cool. So I had a really good friend at the time, and she knew that I was trying to get a band together. So before there was a band, it was, well, what are you going to call the band? That type of thing. So we were just spitballing one night, and the whole concept was kind of like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. So Baby and the Nobodies.
Good.
And yeah, we were just coming up with different types of names, and Baby and the Nobodies was one thing that her and I were throwing at each other, and it stuck. So before I had the band, I had the name.
And you're a baby, and we're all nobodies.
And the Nobodies, yeah.
But you are dignified nobodies.
We're proud
dignified nobodies, right? Because I was kind of wondering about how the band originally felt about that. Was okay. Well, you're the baby, and we're the Nobodies. But it is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you guys have started the band out yourselves, the two of you.
Yes.
And that was quite some time ago that you got that going. What was your reasoning really for getting together? I know you wanted to start a band, but what was the thing that kind of brought you guys together musically?
Well, I was in a fairly popular band, and she came to a couple of shows, and the situation that I was in ended, and I was just kind of bumming around, waiting to put something else together, and I heard her sing along with, I think it was like Celine Dion or something like that, and it just sent chills down my spine. I said, I gotta do something with that. So that's it.
So then, when you guys got together, it almost sounds like a Pat Benatar, Neil Giraldo thing. When they heard each other kind of play, they knew it was like something that they really wanted to do. But the style of music it's not. I mean, I don't know how to consider it. I tried listening and thinking like who do they sound like?
Yeah.
And you really didn't. That's what was so great for me when I was listening. Yeah. Was like, it's just them. It doesn't sound a lot like a lot of other people. So where did your influences come from, and what kind of genre would you describe yourself as being?
Wow.
So my influences as a singer are totally different than his influences. One of the first people that ever influenced me was Madonna. So Madonna, Tina Turner, Diana Ross. I grew up singing a lot of Motown, Aretha Franklin, Selena. I had artists like that inspired me. The Spice Girls. I wanted to be Ginger Spice when I was 8 years old. What can I say?
Wow.
What girl didn't want to be a Spice Girl at that point?
Right.
So those were a bunch of my influences early on.
Yeah, and then so you kind of take that and you add in Def Leppard, Motley Crue, the New York Dolls, the Sex Pistols,
Deborah Harry.
the Heartbreakers, you know,
Yeah.
you add all of that stuff all together, and you kind of come up with a Joan Jett and the Blackhearts meet
Social
Johnny
Distortion.
Thunders and Social D.
Yeah.
And then you add some glitter, and it's Baby and the Nobodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as like genre that we fit into, I mean, rock and roll is all I
Yeah.
really call it, but you know, we can hold our own at punk rock shows. We can hold our own with, you know, national acts like Faster Pussycat, LA Guns. We can hold,
We held our own with the Mentors when we opened for the
Right.
Mentors,
yeah.
which
So
shocked and offended a lot of people. But we did it, and I was like, you know what? We got asked to do it.
Yeah.
Why not? You know?
Right.
so, rock and roll with a whole lot of attitude, just like always.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do get that kind of the punk vibe on there when you're doing it. And I mean, some of the songs, even like going back, like "Gimme Gimme," songs like that,
Right.
that that sound again is very prominent with the guitar, bass, drums, and that's it. Not a lot of synths, not a lot of things in between. And then, of course, when those vocals come in, I can certainly understand why you wanted her to be the vocalist.
Right.
So
Thank you.
when you guys got together, though, how was the writing? How did the writing go? Was it, I mean, like Rev, do you write the music, and then does Rebecca do the lyrics, or how does it work out when you guys are writing?
Well, in the very beginning, I wrote everything, and
we fought about that.
and yeah, we would go back and forth about it, but
Yeah.
I pretty much wrote everything just because it was easier for me to just do it. But over the years, Rebecca's learned a lot about songwriting, about how to get her expressiveness out. So like now it's more of a group effort. I love coming up with a guitar riff and having Rebecca come up with a melody line and maybe a couple of lyrics. And then I can take those lyrics that she came up with and just build a whole song based on that. We'll very often get together with the other guys in the band, go over it, refine things, change things around, rearrange everything. And then once we get into the studio, you know, then again,
Then it can change some
then
more.
we do it all over again. So, you know, it's really a fun process.
Yeah, and I've learned apparently that I am really good at writing hooks, because a lot of the songs lately, I've been coming up with the hooks for the chorus.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, so it's pretty much like, here's a cookie, decorate it, essentially.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, here's your hook. I have nothing for a verse. Here you go. Have a cookie.
Okay, so then with that being said, like when you have something like "Bombs Away," okay, so this is a new song. How did that? What did that come out of? Like, did part of that song kind of come to your head, and then it was like, all right, let's work with this, or was it a specific thing that you wanted to write about?
That one
was pretty much all you, except for a call and answer that I did.
Yeah, so that one was pretty much all me, and it was like after I had the music like almost completely done, and I mean, I think I had like 3 different sets of lyrics for it, didn't I?
I don't remember.
And yeah, so I just kind of picked the best one that fit the best.
Yeah, and then there were parts that were empty, because originally the chorus was just going to be bombs away, bombs away, bombs away, but I kept hearing like this little rhythmic melody line that could have been in between. I'm a big fan of call and answer, and you'll notice that on a lot of our songs. So I wanted to fill in the emptiness, because I'm like, there could be something really cool in here. And
yeah.
History
What was
the build.
What was the first song, Rebecca? What was the first song that you did where you came up with a melody and was like, "Wow, this I like this. I like doing this."
it was off of our EP. and the EP was called Kiss This, and the song was Boy on the Radio.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Boy on the Radio is a lot of me. Drag Me Down, which is on that same EP, is a lot of me. On this album specifically, it is, I don't know what track it is.
Why'd you have to go?
Yeah, but it's Why'd You Have to Go. That one's kind of like a throwback to 1950s doo-wop love song. That's a lot of me.
So is that something that comes to you separately, or when you hear the guitar riff or you hear the music, then you do the lyrics, or are you physically doing something beforehand?
No, he pretty much has a guitar idea, and sometimes he'll record just a basic demo of the guitar ideas because he doesn't want to forget the idea. So it could be via like a voice message on a text that he sends me, or it's like an actual track that he sends me in Dropbox, and then I just sit with it, cycle it for a while, and then I get like a basic melody, and then the words just eventually start coming. And with Boy on the Radio, it was cutesy, and I fell in love with the Boy on the Radio.
That was almost instantly too.
Yeah.
That's the first time you heard the guitar riff.
Yeah, it was actually. And it was funny too, because of how fast that specific song was, there was no pushback. There was no, well, I think there could be a better concept. It was just, boom, there it is. Boy on the Radio. Yeah.
And that's great when you collaborate like that, and then you get that feel, and it all kind of melds together into something great. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, and then there's some tracks that he has ideas for, and I'll listen to it a bunch, and I'm like, I got nothing. It's all you. I got nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. Until I come up with something, then you add all of your own flavor to it anyway.
Yeah, or then I want to change everything. It goes either way.
That too.
Well, since we all like to hear kind of the inside scoop on what goes on with a lot of these songs, has there been a song that may have been presented to you, or if you were writing one, Rebecca, maybe you listened to it. Was there something where you were just like, yeah, I'm not feeling it? Yes. You know, that's like not something that I feel like for me, my vocal, I just don't feel I can do anything with it. Let's move on from this. That's happened?
Yes.
And how did that, Rev, how'd that go with you?
I'm usually pretty cool with it. I have a lot of songs.
He has a lot of patience.
I have a lot of songs too. So
he has a lot of patience.
So yeah, it's like, you know, if I send her a link to Dropbox and there's 10 songs in there, it doesn't mean we have to do all 10 of them, you know.
Right.
And I you know, of course I don't send them to her with lyrics. They're not completed. They're just like drum machine, you know, guitar and bass. So, you know, if they're not used, maybe sometime down the road, like part of it will be used. Maybe I'll just still have that riff stuck in my head. Maybe that riff will turn into something else later on. But
you have that relationship to where you can talk to each other about that, and you can reason with each other on trying, because your goal is to get the best possible song out of what you're collaborating on. And, you know, and sometimes that does happen. And I'm glad that you guys have that ability together, and that type of relationship where you can, you know, take it or leave it, or make something out of it, or just say, hey, let's shelf this one for a while and see what happens later, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. And there are times where feelings get hurt because
we're both passionate.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how long you've been writing for, no matter what, there's a level of intimacy when you're writing.
Yeah. Right.
And it's an intimacy that you're sharing with your bandmates and everybody that's in the band. And if somebody's like, I think this sucks, then you're like, oh, my heart. You know what I mean? So, so there's, you know, there's certain degrees of getting butt hurt sometimes, and it happens. It's natural.
It happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. But, you know, the songs really, and being a songwriter myself, I know that, you know, the songs are your babies.
Yes.
You know, and that's kind of originally what I thought when I heard the name too, is, well, the songs are the babies, you know. But so then So, all right. So let's talk about the latest album you have coming out now. Is it an EP or is it a full length album?
It's a full length, 8
It's a full.
tracks.
All right.
Eight.
Oh, 8
Yeah.
tracks. Okay. All right. So
So
let's talk about that.
it's a
How long
cross
has this been in
between.
the? It's a what?
I said it's a cross between an EP and a full length.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
Because it's
Um,
8 tracks.
Is there a concept to it, or are there 8 individual songs that are totally separate, or do they tell a story within themselves that kind of make it a concept album?
No, they are actual separate entities of themselves. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. And then in the writing process of that, how was this album any different in the studio as far as like a feel, how quickly they came together, any of that kind of thing versus the other songs that you put out before?
Yes. We did way more pre-production as a band
Right.
for this record. We've been consistently working with the same producer for years, Jonathan Plum up at London Bridge. He's amazing.
Yep.
He also has a lot of patience.
Yes.
So that being said, we were going in there pretty much with a new lineup all around. And because of that, there was more pre-production that went in. So because there was way more pre-production, it just went real quick in the studio.
Yeah.
Our new drummer, Dana Sims, he's amazing percussionist.
Yep.
Not just a drummer, but a percussionist.
Right.
And I would say that he got some of these takes within 1 take, but we still did 3 to 4 takes because everything was tracked live.
Sure.
Yeah.
But amazing drummer, just boom, boom, boom. Everything was quick. Vocals were quick. It was quick.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, the rhythm section obviously important in when you're only really a 3-piece, when you have guitar, bass, and drums. That rhythm section. Do you lay down the rhythm section first and then go from there?
Yes.
That's how it's laid down. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a new bass player who just joined the band roughly 2 months ago. He's not on the recording, but I'm stoked to get in the studio with him and Dana because the two of them together are amazing.
Right.
Great. And so then with this particular album that came out, with you have eight songs on there, you said?
Yes, 8.
Okay. How many of them are you doing live when you perform them?
4.
1, 2, 4. 4 of them.
4 of them? Okay.
So 4 of them we have not played live yet.
Yeah.
Is that a tough choice to try to determine like a set list on with all of the songs now that you have kind of in your repertoire? Is there like a tough choice on that, or you know exactly what you want to play?
I know what I want to play, and he knows what he wants to play, and we've moved away from a lot of the older songs. Like every now and then, if we need to extend the set out to 45 minutes or to an hour, then we jokingly say that we'll pull from the archives,
Right.
and we'll pull out some songs. Every now and just like every now and then, if we need to do a longer set, we'll throw in a cover every now and then. Doesn't happen often, but sometimes we'll cover Junkyard, or sometimes we'll do like a Donna Summers song. I talked the guys into doing Hot Stuff, but we made it a rock song, and it's beautiful. It took a lot of convincing, but it's beautiful. So every now and then we'll pull from the archives.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rev, let's talk about your equipment for a moment then.
All right.
We can. I'm looking at everything behind you, and I'm like, well, is that a picture, or is that is that your actual collection?
That is some of them.
That is a very small portion of my actual collection.
Small part. Okay. Yeah. Well, what is your go-to guitar that you normally play?
Right now, my go-to is one that I built and put together myself. It's a parts caster. It's a telly shape with dual humbuckers. I play Les Pauls a lot and tellies a lot, and on some songs I play strats. So
Wow.
kind of an all-around guy.
Yeah. Well, the different styles that I see back there, I see the Pauls and the Strats. What is your main effect that you use on your guitars?
A tuner.
That's it.
That's it. I have a wah pedal that I use for one song.
Really?
Yep. Other than that, I do not use effects. It's just my orange Rockaverb 50 and either a 212 or a 412. So that's
Impressive.
really it. Yeah.
Very
Very
organic.
nice.
Very
Yeah.
organic. Yeah.
You don't have that massive pedal board with 18 pedals underneath, and
No.
wow, it's great.
I've done that route before, and I just like it better with just nothing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, keep it raw, keep it organic. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's just like live. We don't fly in tracks. You'll never see a laptop up on stage with us. Everything is real and organic. If we mess up, you're gonna know it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, so then what can people expect when they come and see you at a live show?
Real music.
A lot of energy. Definitely a planned out set to get you involved and get you interested and keep you moving. Definitely.
Wow. So just no gimmick, straight up rock.
Right.
You give
It's
it
all
to
real.
them.
Yep.
That's it. We don't even talk very much. Rebecca talks a little bit, but it's usually when we're tuning or something like that.
Yeah. So then, Rebecca, you getting on stage and being in front of people, let's just say your first show that you did when you had to get up in front of an audience and do your thing. What ran through your head, and were you nervous at all in that?
So the way that I describe it, I was not personally nervous for me. I've been singing since I was little. So I've been singing in front of crowds since I was little. So people and stage and lights and microphones don't scare me. But my first show that we did as a band, I was more worried about letting my bandmates down than I was myself. Because anytime that I step on stage, it's not just me stepping up there as a performer, it's me stepping up there with the other musicians that I'm in a band with. And you all work as a unit so that the band sounds a certain way and looks a certain way. And so one person's performance affects four other people's performance.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it's a band. It's not
Right.
just, it's not the Rebecca Terry show. It's not the Rev show.
Well,
it's
the Rev show.
well, it is the Rebecca Terry show too. But it's Baby and the Nobodies. So the very first show, I was worried about letting the guys down.
And you did amazing. You're fine.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and because you are being, the lead vocalist, you are in front, and that's really what people are waiting to hear. As
Right.
much as they love the music, they can start getting into the music. They can start loving the groove. They can start loving the rhythm section. But then as soon as that vocal starts, that is when they make up their mind immediately and say, yeah, it was okay. So, maybe that doesn't fit right, but yeah, from what I've heard, and I've seen some of the live videos that you guys did, just everybody just kind of does it well together. And I was actually doing that myself. I'm looking, to be honest, for me, I'm looking for something to critique. I'm looking for something to get in on and say, who does this band sound like? And do they sound exactly like this group or anything? And when I waited for the vocals to come in, and I heard right away, the first thing was like, yeah, that's it.
Yep.
It all mixes. It's all good. Sometimes you can tell when you hear something that just doesn't seem right, but it seemed like you guys have been doing this for a long time. It seemed like you guys just gelled well together, and you really work off of each other.
Yes.
Which is really impressive.
Yeah, it's a unit. And one thing that I have to say that I'm proud of as a vocalist is that there's really not that many effects on my voice in the recordings. Like there's the basics, like reverb, a little bit of delay, like the
Right.
basics, but my vocals are not overly processed, and people that have an ear for music will hear that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
You mean
And
it's not in the studio doing auto tune and effects on your voice where
actually, yeah.
you mean you actually sound like you do when you do it live without
yeah,
anything?
Absolutely.
yeah. And it's like, like there's obviously they always do auto tune and stuff like that, but it's not like
Not as much as you think.
Right.
Jonathan gives you crap for it, but he's really not doing that. He's mostly just making the backup vocals and everything match
Yeah.
you.
which I do all my own backing vocals too.
Right.
Oh, great.
Well, we do too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying
in live. Yeah, live you have to obviously have the guys reproduce that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
the stuff that I was listening to, you also are on Spotify. You have
Yes,
quite a bit on Spotify.
Yes, we are new to Spotify. So everybody needs to go find us on Spotify and follow us and like us. So then other
Yep.
people realize that we're good, because apparently that's a thing. It matters how many little likes you have.
And add us to
Yeah.
your playlists.
Yes, I know. And your Facebook page, people can find you there also on the Facebook page. Do you have any
And
other social
Instagram.
media and a website you have? You also have your website.
Yes. So,
Babyandthenobodies.com.
yep. And then we have an Instagram. We have everything.
Good. All right. So people know exactly where to find you.
Yeah, I'm surprised the band doesn't have an OnlyFans, but we have everything.
Well, now we have Lonnie. We're talking about it. So.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Good. You have a lot going on. A lot
Yes.
going on. And what is competition? And you guys are from Washington. So what has been competition out there? Obviously, back in the day, the Seattle grunge, all the type of music that came out. How is it now? And how is the music scene now differ from how it was, let's say, 10 or 15 years ago?
It's tribute bands.
That's our competition. Yeah.
Not cover bands, tribute bands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tribute bands.
Now, what are some of the tributes that are out there?
Let's see.
Seattle based?
There's a
Lady Gaga, there's a Portishead, there's 3 or 4 Motley Crues, there's a Poison.
There's actually 2 Poisons. There's a Def Leppard. There's Scorpions.
There's a Cure.
There's 2 Nirvanas. There's
a couple Metallicas. One of them is really good.
2 Alice in Chains, a Pearl Jam,
a Soundgarden, a Nirvana,
all that good stuff.
And what about the original side? There's not a lot of original bands as far as playing out there.
I mean,
there are, but most people favor tribute bands,
right?
Because they already know the songs. They can drink, they can dance, they can party, and they know it's coming up.
So then how difficult is that to find a venue that wants to hear original music?
That's where it gets harder, and that's where it gets trickier.
Yeah, it's getting more and more difficult around here, actually. Yeah.
And you can't fault the venues at all.
Right.
A lot of this started after COVID. The venues were shut down for so long, especially up here in Washington. So it's like, what can you guarantee that your bar will make money off of? Your bar is going to make money off of people drinking at tribute shows, because that people will come to tribute shows.
Right.
So venues were booking tributes.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, most of the tributes are really,
they're good.
Really good.
And we have lots of friends that are in tribute bands. But that is the truth.
Yeah, but that's the competition.
Yeah.
So.
But it is. I think people don't understand how difficult it is. I mean, yes, I've been in tribute bands myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a Led Zeppelin, a Rush. I've done the tribute band type of a thing, and yes, it definitely takes some type of talent to mimic, that style of music. But it's really the originals that come out of these groups. That's how we have to keep the music alive, is really by getting new music out there, by getting bands out there that have the ability to write their own music and not sound like a band that they're paying tribute to, and have their totally different style. And that's really what I admire about you guys the most, is that you're out there doing it. And hopefully that will change, that people will get out there, start to know your music even more, and then start to listen to some of the stuff previously. And then you build that following where, the bands are or the bars are gonna want you to play.
Right.
And you'll bring those people in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want that
right,
too.
So we definitely want that too. We also really want to go other places and play our music in other places, other states, other countries, other worlds.
Oh, okay.
South America sounds amazing. Just saying.
Have you done shows out of state?
Yes.
Yeah.
How was that as far as traveling and like there's been so many bands, like their goal would be to go on tour, but then I've seen so many bands that I know personally went on tour and went completely broke, ended up breaking up, couldn't sell enough merch or whatever, and only got paid a very little amount to get into these venues, because it's more about, trying to get yourselves out there. But how was that traveling? Was that something that put a toll on the band, or something you enjoyed and would love to do it again?
Definitely would love to do it again. Definitely are going to do it again. We've actually got things in the works in the near future. So in the past, I've been in a couple of bands where I've toured the US and
UK,
and I've got to go to the UK and like Italy, and sometimes it can be exactly like you said, it can be a toll. As long as you don't go into it expecting to make a whole bunch of money, and you go into it with the idea and the concept that you're just trying to get to meet people and to get people to hear your music, it's successful. If you're going to make a bunch of money, it's never going to be successful until you've done some locations 5 or 6 times. So
yeah, and the advice that I was given very early with the band was that realistically, the first couple times that you go out on the road, you're not going to make money.
Nope.
So if you could even break even, if you just break even, or if you're up $5, that's winning. Because realistically, it's like, if you've never played in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, then who's going to care or want to come see you your first time out in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho? You've never been there.
Right.
So you can't expect to make a bunch of money. Or same thing in Billings, Montana, or Eugene, Oregon. Like, you've never been there. Why do people care? You know what I mean?
And if you have gas in your tank when you get home from the tour, you are successful.
Yep.
And you've done well.
Yeah. So that's some advice that I received very early on that always just resonated with me and stayed with me.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, we have come to that time. It went by very quickly. I was just looking at the time like, wow, that. So let me ask you then, just as I always kind of ask these type of questions at the end. They're kind of silly type questions. But where would you guys like to play, or like to see yourselves playing, that you've never been before, never played before, but would really love to play there?
South America.
Rio.
Oh, really?
Rio de Janeiro. Yeah.
South America.
That would be epic. Like,
wow. And they're big music fans.
Yeah, especially if we could get on some show with, like, I don't know, Kiss or something.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But yeah, for me, it would be Mexico and South America.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then what is your favorite venue that you have played so far?
The Viper Room.
Oh, okay. Oh, Rev's thinking about that one. He's been around. He's
Yeah. There's been so many. I want to say borderline Pisa, Italy. That was just an epically cool club. The place was packed, and they loved my shitty little American band.
Well, I know that you guys have like an amazing band right now.
Yes.
If you can, the two of you just were asked to come up on stage with a drummer and a bass player. That could be anybody. Who would it be? That's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, aside from saying the guys that I'm in the band with right now, but
of course, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would probably say Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx, just to say that I did.
Okay, good.
Just to say that I did. Like,
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was my rhythm section. Like, just to say that I did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just a tough one. You know, I mean, I've been on stage with people like Steve Riley from LA Guns, who's somebody that I would say, unfortunately, he passed away. You know, I think a lot of the drummers that I'd like to get on stage with are no longer with us. So, you know, like Neil Peart and you know, just all those guys, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I can say. Sid Vicious. I'd love to have played with Sid Vicious because I'd be a way better guitar player.
But he did it his way.
Right.
Right. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us. We got to get the listeners out there to get on Spotify, get on Facebook, check out Baby and the Nobodies. Great stuff, great original music, guitar oriented, and just kind of slap you in your face music, which I love. And the lyrics, vocals, everything about it is awesome. So thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. And for the rest of you, get out there, check out Baby and the Nobodies on Facebook and Spotify, and appreciate you joining us. This is Living in the Limelight. I'm your host, Anton Scholl, and we will see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining our Living in the Limelight podcast with your host, Anton Scholl. Please feel free to comment, like, follow, share, and subscribe, and also add us to your playlist on your favorite streaming sites. Thanks again for joining, and we'll talk to you again next week.